Hello and welcome to our actual play of Curse of Strahd as presented by For the Love of Crits. I'm level 1 Dungeon Master Hunter AU. Thank you again for joining us as we follow our Lost Clerics of Barovia deeper into the mist. Uh, just a reminder that this is a dark style campaign and viewer discretion is advised due to adult language and themes. We ask that you keep the chat civil, avoid spoilers for any Wizards of the Coast adventures, and we are going to enact a recollection with Herbert as we are going forward to continue our campaign. And please don't forget, for the love of crits, like, comment, and subscribe.
So this is really just kind of a stream of consciousness of Herbert at some point during the last session, essentially. I am so very tired of this place. I find that every moment we spend here, we find something else that we need to do or prevent or investigate. Barovia is so very full of problems, and big and small. And I feel like the more I learn, the less I feel like I can have an impact. Let us look at the evidence. We've lived through the so-called death house, and I feel like we helped at least put Walter to rest, but the rest of the household was too far gone to help. And perhaps Rose will find some peace, but I shudder to think of the horrors they had to endure in life and death. We tried to help by bringing Irina to Valaki, but Strahd simply toyed with us during the journey, showing us how futile our efforts were. And now, as I've recently learned, we could have simply put this town at risk of torment and death by doing so. We tried to save some orphans and came back traumatized with a dead body. I still see Han's screaming face whenever I close my eyes. Then we have the Burgomaster's son, Victor. I hesitate to call him a boy. He was a monster. His diary confirmed as much. Stealing a person's valuables or even ending their life is awful, but stealing someone's free will, sanity, and faculties is unforgivable. Especially the way he talked about it with such callousness and frivolity. Magic like that is more dangerous than a fireball. I did what I had to do. There was no other way. What could we have done? Put him in therapy? Where? Who would do such a thing? And what would that really make us much safer? He spoke with such intelligence. It was frighteningly clear he knew what he was doing and had thoroughly prepared. Just false equivalence to justify it. We just need to be more decisive. Like I was at that moment. Cannot hem and haw when people's lives are on the line. Horrific problems require horrific solutions. I need more power. To make sure that we can do what we must when it is demanded of us. I pray to God to fill me with inspiration and motivation, but I still need time to achieve his machinations. Time and materials. All else that I need is within my own mind, God willing that I can preserve it here. Speaking of mind, I've been inside it for too long. I think my companions are starting to notice that I have not been listening. Now, what was Lady Wagner talking about just now? I'll agree for now. Whatever she's saying seems to make sense.
So, as you were talking with Lady Wagner, the conversation very quickly moved away from the day-to-day meanderings of the town to the criticism of the current leadership, and then very quickly into the possibility of changing that leadership. The last question that had been asked of Lady Wagner was what her hidden motivations were for being able to change the town of or the city of Vallaki. She told the story as a young girl when she traveled to the city of Barovia, or to the village of Barovia, saw the passion of the existing burgomaster there, and then upon her return trip home, heard a prophecy from Madame Eva. The prophecy went as thus. In the depths of Twilight's embrace, the luminescent coil unveils the bridge between realms, guiding souls on their clandestine journey. When the ruin is complete, the blood of the outsider will shed sunlight on Vallaki again. Herbert, if you could, roll me a d6.
Oh, yes.
Get them luck points.
Yes, you
Of the
have that
outsider.
amount of luck points.
I got a 4.
Nice. It's more than one.
Yes.
It's in the higher half too. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the good news is that her prophecy isn't talking about us, because it said the blood of the outsider, not outsiders.
I'm gonna assume that it's just
And you
happen
don't
chance
even
of
have-
language, but that's all very Pharasman language. I'm gonna assume that it just happens to be. But
But I don't bleed.
Yeah, you don't bleed.
yeah, it can't be Onyx.
I mean, does Graves bleed?
I mean, he has blood. His blood's not like pumping necessarily because he's basically just like a body that moves and stuff like that. Oh, he like heals and such, but I mean, so does Onyx.
Is it Jello now?
Maybe. But I don't need to eat or breathe.
Where
So if
am
I'm
I?
not like actively taking oxygen, is it even red anymore?
Yeah, I mean, what is your blood is a delivery system for mostly oxygen and
Yeah, which I don't need. So it's
a bunch of other
the
stuff.
I mean, maybe Graves did have blood, but like at this point, since he just lost enough over time, that maybe there's just none left, really, because it doesn't like actively pump. So
See, I always viewed it more like if there was actual like zombies, that in those instances, the blood would be congealed but still there,
Right.
unless they were specifically killed in a way that drained the blood from them.
yeah, I mean, Graves has been hacked and slashed a number of times since. So probably some of it's gone at least, but maybe all his blood even congeal doesn't run as much.
Is Conera's blood turning purple?
I sure hope so.
I don't know if Conaris really been cut enough for you guys to know that.
Well,
Yeah.
not lately.
Here,
Yeah.
let's test it out. Graves pulls out one of his daggers. Gets him from behind.
Last time I've
Sneak
done a lot
attack.
of damage. Actually,
You haven't really. You've kind of been in the middle of the fray, but you kind of have been buffing everyone
Yeah.
around you.
I mean, like
And
our last
it's hard. You have a high
actual-
enough AC. It's hard to hit you.
Our last actual fight was the werewolf fight, which was like a bit ago in game. That was back in like May or April, real world.
my word.
So it's been like 6 months in real world since we've had a combat.
And that might have also been a little before things started. turning.
Yeah, Balaki has a lot of political intrigue in it, as far as the city goes. But as Lady Voctor reveals this prophecy to you, you do hear a door open behind you. The servant maid comes back in, and she actually has a tray laden with different baked confections. But most of them look like they're just well-baked breads. And everything, and she brings it and sets the tray in front of Konareth. Kind of in between Konareth and I believe Graves was the one sitting across from him. In order to offer him a wider variety of food, since he only eats bread.
Nice. I'll be back in like 20 seconds.
Gwyneth just kind of would politely eat some of the food without making a thing of it.
She would not say too much for that. It's still fairly early in the morning. Even though you're inside, you can still hear the hustle and bustle of the town outside as they're starting to get ready for the morning's labors. She turns to Onyx and she's like, "So you see, that is my hidden agenda, per se, is to hopefully fulfill this prophecy so that Valaki can be released from the mist."
I see.
Do you have any working theories about how this sort of prophecy might come to pass? Do you have any idea about any elements of it?
The prophecy is vague by design. I do not know exactly what it means. The outsider, I assume, would be some type of adventurer that would come in and either be able to unify the people or be able to release the mist. However, I thought one such outsider, a wizard, some time back, that come through would maybe be that outsider, but it turned out not to be so. I have found that I have not put too much weight upon the prophecy. At least yet, I think it will come to pass. But I don't think I will know has come to pass until the time comes.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Are the guards loyal to the burgomaster?
An interesting question. I think their loyalty is out of fear. Fear of Isaac, fear of the burgomaster, and fear of the people, which they use their own form of cruelty to keep in line. I believe this is a situation that if you cut off the snake's head, it will fall apart. I do have quite a few citizens and guards that are loyal to my cause. That if the time comes that the burgomaster goes too far, we are able to pick up the pieces.
I would wonder if Isaac, though. I get the sense that he might be less so loyal to fear and more so to the burgomaster himself, compared to possibly some others. He is
I
also
think,
only one man, but he seems strong.
yes, and I think that the burgomaster has political power, but Isaac has physical power and then also influential power through
Yes.
his guards. I think that your insight's correct, that Isaac is a necessary pawn to take out before we can place the king in check.
So how do you plan to kill him?
Unfortunately, my influence is mostly political as well. I do have some guards in my pocket, but not enough that think that they would be able to deal with Isaac.
Oh,
That is where
the
I was
burgomaster.
hoping that you would be able to come in.
How are you going to kill the burgomaster?
The burgomaster I'll leave to the people to decide his fate. We have a gallows, which is where I wish he would go.
Mhm.
But if it's just one person killing another to gain rule, then who's to say that the same won't happen exactly to me? It must be a people's decision,
That is
not
fair.
a single person.
That is fair. As they said, likely Isaac would have to be taken out first, or else he would pose a problem towards that. So I
The
don't think he
people
would have
fear
like,
him and his cursed arm.
Yes. If he were taken out, the burgomaster, especially if there are other guards loyal to other sort parties and who also don't like the burgomaster, you take out Isaac, the biggest threat that the burgomaster poses has been removed,
Hmm.
allowing the people to act as they would like to much easier.
I agree.
Okay.
Is this something that you would consider to assist me on?
Are you asking us to kill somebody?
I know you are men of the cloth. I want him indisposed. Whether that means killing him or finding some other way to make sure that he does not interfere with the rebellion is up to you.
Hmm.
If you
How
do assist me, I will put what resources are available of the town of Alaki to further your supplies and help assist you as you're getting acquainted in the land of Barovia.
the real question is she going to help us with Strahd? Because if she won't, then there's no difference between her and the current power.
Graves gives Conair a sort of look as if he'd be willing to respond to that if you allowed him. Graves said to Conair mentally then. Yes, but if we're able to take out her as well, then the owner of the whatever tied in or whatever sounds like a much better option than her or the burgomaster.
Potentially.
Has-
Outwards,
I just think that changing the face of power in this town isn't going to affect people's lives to the degree that they need. You know, it might solve more immediate problems, but if they're still going to ignore the most important problem, then things really aren't going to change very much.
to an extent. Outwardly, Grace was like, it is a proposition that I'm willing to mull over at least.
Well, that's the most I can ask. I I believe that this is time sensitive. The fact that in the last celebration, it was a guard that spoke up this time, and the Baron did not hesitate to put him under the same punishment. If he's starting to treat his guards in such a way, then if we don't control the rebellion, I think it may happen anyways.
Is fair. A good point.
How long do you suppose Isaac might need to be indisposed?
We are looking at using Raven's rivalry as the next likely point that we could put our plan into motion. That's the day after St. Andrew's feast. I think it may be difficult trying to indispose him before St. Andrew's feast. I would say if we're able to get him out of the way for a day, I think the best option would be getting him out of town so that we can keep him out. But that's a tall order. He doesn't leave town often. In
Especially
my
on the day
memory,
of
I
the festival.
I can't think of any time that he has left the town.
Especially on the day of a festival.
Yes. I'm not going to lie to you. Killing him would be the best option. Or at least the easiest.
I agree.
What do you
Certainly
think
lots
he
of
would do if he came back and the Burgermaster had been ousted?
Well, I think that if he had to try and fight the entire village one on the village, or the city, I should say, I don't think that he would be able to do too much. He's not a magic user. Um, the main concern is if he gets some of the guards on his side and then barricades himself within the town. At that point, we'd be fighting an inner siege, and that's going to be very difficult.
Okay.
Well, like my friend Graves here said, we're willing to mull it over. But we don't know the fellow, although he does seem to serve someone pretty awful. So perhaps we'll just reserve our judgment for a brief period. But we'll
An
make
open mind is all I ask. And an open ear. I would say, if my words do not convince you, speak to the residents. See what they have to say. And if you help them out, you may be able to even earn their favor, which would be of assistance to me as well.
have this is above table just for a second.
Yeah.
Have we broached the topic of like how she feels about Strahd? I feel like we've
A
talked about it.
negligent landlord.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is kind
yeah.
of the way she described it. She felt that he was more so a negligent landlord than a maniacal tyrant.
Yeah, it seemed like she didn't have any intention of extending any of her power beyond the walls of Valaki.
We did talk about setting the actual walls so that there's more farmland, but
Yeah.
And if an individual was curious, where does Isaac typically reside?
Isaac lives within the Burgomaster's mansion.
That may
He
be
has a room
problematic.
there. He wasn't from the orphanage, but he was orphaned as a child. The Burgomaster took him in. It was fairly common practice before the orphanage was created that it would just be adopted by someone with enough funds to be able to support the child.
Gotcha.
Isaac has become fiercely loyal because of the relationship he has with the Burgomaster. And I believe the Burgomaster has come to see him as a combination of right-hand man and maybe not a son, but at least a nephew. Well, I know you must have plenty of preparations that you would like to get to, and I will not leave you delayed. Um, we do have quite a few stores that, um, here, if I could be of assistance, if you need any rations or anything like that. It sounded like you were going on the road today and leaving the city for a short time.
Quite possibly.
She rings a bell next to her. This one servant girl comes back and she kind of whispers something, in her ear, and the servant girl leaves. A few minutes later, she comes back with a number of different packages wrapped up in burlap, with string. She kind of sets them on the table in front of you, and she's like, "Here are some of our preserves, mostly simplistic things. Few uh, dried vegetables, some unleavened bread, and dried meats. But it should serve you on your road as you're going along. And you
Greatly.
each receive 5 rations."
Oh,
Cool.
nice.
Graves, after we leave, we'll probably give it to Herbert and Conera since he does not need to eat.
Yep.
Hmm. But she just gives you the amount to have 20 total for the
Yeah.
entire party.
So
Say
Herbert,
Graves is like, yeah, Graves kind of keeps up the appearance that he eats, but he doesn't actually need to. He just
Herbert.
doesn't want people to know he's essentially a walking corpse.
Am I about to get 15 rations?
Oh. Oh, maybe, yeah, because if Cornerith only needs 5.
You'll
I
have
mean-
plenty to give to your friends. Take 2, they're small.
I'll take. I'll take 10, and I'll give the other 10 to Kaneda.
Yeah, say both of them would take 10.
Yeah.
Divvied up on our side.
Patricia will let you out, lead your way out. I must attend to a few other matters, and then I also have a book club meeting later this afternoon.
Cute.
And she walks away, and as you guys, Patricia would come in soon afterwards, and kind of politely guide you out of the house, kind of making sure that you don't stray anywhere aside from the correct path.
Can I ask the servant on the way out where the bookstore is? If there is a bookstore potentially.
Onyx has already been there.
Yes, sir. It's in the main town square. It's Janovics and Sons.
Yes.
Yep.
No, wrong character. Graves would also, as everyone else is like leaving, he would like kind of make sure he's the last one, and he would look to like Patricia as he's going, and he would like slip 2 folded papers to her. We're like,
To
"Can you
Patricia?
see that?" What, sorry?
You hand these to Patricia?
Yeah, but like, can you see that Lady Vocta receives these for me, and keep it a little quiet.
Yes, sir. Can I ask of the time frame she needs to see these within?
The sooner the better, but it's not like right this minute, but ideally today.
Of course, sir. And
Thank you.
she kind of gives a little slight bow / curtsy, and then moves back in there and closes the door behind you guys, and you guys are back out into the hustle and bustle of the town. As you step out, Herbert, you feel a familiar weight on your shoulder and a flapping of wings as Mirabelle lands upon your shoulder.
Oh, hello, Mirabelle. Did you see the posters? They're having a feast in your honor, apparently.
Caw. Kind of pause. Starts kind of nipping at your hair a little bit, or around your hat. There's like a few like jingles on your hat that she seems to enjoy poking.
Oh, I thought she was eating the fleas.
Yes, I'm flea-ridden. Absolutely filthy.
So you were looking for the bookstore, is that correct?
I was not gonna head over there right away, but just knowing where it is a good idea.
Over here.
I don't have Tailspire.
There we go. Yes, it is right here. This store here.
I was like, I know it's one of these two buildings.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys
Oh, I
do
can
you
see the
guys see
bookshelf.
anything. If I hold tab, like I have the bookmarks
No.
that tell me what's there. Can you guys see those?
No.
Okay. I wish I could make those. I can do this though
Yes.
and fetch everyone to it though. And this is the bookstore.
Gotcha.
Um let's see. So what are you guys looking at doing? What's your next step? So right now you have a few different things going on right now. As far as active quests, I'm guessing that Onyx would be able to tell you better than I could. The one you guys had mentioned was the Wizards of Wines. You guys have a few other things that you've been attempting to work towards as you're going along. But right now, there's not really anything pressing on your calendar that you have to get to. And it is early in the morning, so you have the whole day ahead of you.
Well, guys,
Do you-
we do have an opportunity to ask for Isaac, as Isaac had asked us to look into the grave robbery. So we could ask to talk to him to get more information about the grave robbing.
That's what I was kind of hoping to do, is at least get more information on him and figure out what his whole deal is.
But I mean, we also do have Erwin Mardikov that wants us to get a shipment of wine from the for the Blue Water Inn. The potion lady wants us to get some wine from Kresk. We have a barrel of wine for somebody's wife's birthday.
Yes,
Do
the
you-
Arasek Stockyard.
Yeah, I wasn't
you-
part of that conversation. So
Yeah.
Do you think that it's at all possible that the reason that Strahd leaves this place as it is that it serves as such a strong distraction?
I suppose.
either
I don't
I
see any.
mean,
I don't see any reason to disagree with you by any
one
means.
of the few places in this accursed land that seems to be healthy and fine. There's lots of things to do, lots of people here.
You can't experience the lows if you don't experience the highs, right?
I mean, for anyone, any possible threats to Strahd that enter through the mist, like adventurers such as ourselves, would likely end up here in Valaki and end up just staying there for some time. We've already spent, I believe, much more time here than anywhere else, and there's still so much we wish to do in this town.
or could it be that the Burgermaster made a deal? Or maybe not even this Burgermaster, but his lineage.
That is where we found Strahd's tome.
I just fail to see how the majority of the things that we're involving ourselves in get us to where we need to be. I feel like we're
And
losing sight of the goal.
Where
I agree to an extent, but I also think that we need more allies, information, and strength. Because if we were just to try to take Strahd right this moment, we would just die. Even that wizard, of all the allies he had, didn't succeed.
Right.
I'm sure his servants killed me in that fight right after he left us. But yes, I can't trust that whatever's happening here will protect us forever.
No.
But
My question for Knerith is, where exactly do you see us needing to be? At Strahd's doorstep or something else?
Eventually.
I mean, I don't disagree with you there.
Yes. I agree eventually, but if not doing what we are now, then what do we do in the meantime? How do
We
we
need-
get from here to there?
We need somewhere where we can rest our laurels a little bit every once in a while.
Well,
And if Valaki can be that place, we should probably make it better, I suppose.
I mean, don't forget, we have kind of a roadmap laid out for us from Madame Eva. You know, the first one she pulled, the first card, was the Torturer card that talked about history.
Real-
Knowledge of an ancient will help you better understand your enemy. And there's a town where all is not well. I think we're there. And then you will find a house of corruption, and within a dark room full of still ghosts. I'm pretty sure we met that prophecy.
I would have to agree. I can't say 100%, but I think that is what it was referring to.
So does that not say that we are on the right road? The right path?
Perhaps.
So long as Madame's Eva vision is the right path.
That's a different question altogether.
Exactly.
I just have my heart hurts for the people that live here and the conditions that they have to deal with. But I have no desire to make this a better place because I have no desire to become comfortable here. I think the most important and helpful thing to everyone in this accursed land is to destroy whatever order holds it in this curse. And I would like to stay focused on the things that seem like they would bring us directly to that.
I can understand that. I just don't think we currently have anything that can take us directly to that.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out where the next step is, potentially, in this prophecy, perhaps. Suss out this holy symbol of some sort.
The den of wolves in the hills overlooking a mountain lake.
I think we know what that is. I said
think
there was the
we were
Pass
there, yeah.
by.
heck. Where is it? Where is the prophecy? Here.
I
Not
typed
really
it out,
about-
so I have it in my OneNote.
Yeah, it's hard to read about leaning way in.
But, I mean, does it not help the people here if we take out evil that has led them? We may gain allies, we may gain supporters that will aid us in our time of need when taking on the big evil.
The support Corneris claims as well and such. The one other part of the prophecy that I think might scream to me a little more directly helpful is it talks about a sword of sunlight. That sounds like a powerful artifact. If it's very literal, or to an extent, some sort of magic sword perhaps, sunlight is not a friend of vampires. Powerful weapon that can help us regardless, most likely. Behind a treasure hoard beside a set of amber doors. If we can figure out what these amber doors are, that sounds both
Isn't
possibly
there-
vague, but also could be very telling of something.
I apologize that if potentially a means of gaining help to deal with this arises, then that's a very reasonable goal. I just don't want this town to distract us from the fact that so much outside of this place is still shrouded in darkness. This is just one place in an entire land that is cursed by Strahd, and I don't want to lose sight of the goal in petty requests that were given. If it seems like whatever we're doing can bring about some direct benefit to that end goal, then I have absolutely no problem with us engaging in it. But when it comes to helping people find wine and delivering birthday presents to little girls, I am at a loss. We've already undergone this, so we can
Yes.
take
I-
it where it needs to be, but
I do agree as well. Little petty things. At the same time, this wine thing, though, this seems to be a very prominent place in between the two biggest settlements that has suddenly gone quiet. I suspected something dark has happened there. But if it was just, oh, can you go buy me some wine? Well, that doesn't really help anyone. You can go buy yourself wine. But being such a prominent part of the local economy of here, and from what we've heard, the other settlements in Barovia suddenly being unheard from. That sounds to me like there is possibly something going on there.
But sometimes doing the mindless stuff lets
It also
you
does get us out of the town for a bit.
it lets you hear things or meet people that may lead you to where you need to go. Fine line.
Yeah, say there's a balance, I think, between not everything is immediately obvious that it's helpful, but also it's so easy to get sidetracked and end up doing things that don't matter.
To be honest, I sort of thought when we got here that the battle that we would be fighting would be a bit of the little one for a while. You know, sort of bringing life back to this dead land. But the more I see, even in this vibrant city here, still rife with corruption and evil, potentially. So
But you can
perhaps
get
we
that
should.
anywhere.
Oh, certainly, certainly. I mean, I've heard rumors about the nobles of Waterdeep, some of whom have professed to worship devils. But, you know, you can leave Waterdeep if you wish. You can't leave this place. Perhaps this mist is what we should be focused on.
and from the last reading that we had from Strahd's journal, it might not even be Strahd himself. That's the main problem.
It seems like this is almost more of a prison, and
He did speak of escape.
yes, at first you would imagine that the people here are the prison, and some Strahd is the warden, but perhaps he is the prisoner, and everyone else here is just unlucky bystanders who got sucked into it.
Which maybe if we can bring peace to these settlements, help rid the small evils, it will lessen the hold on the prisoner that we view as evil.
But wouldn't that be too simple?
It's a very
What?
big hypothetical.
What
Yes.
if Strahd
Possible,
discovered
but-
this flaw in this logic and just became a good person and freed himself? Would that not make the most sense to an imprisoned individual?
Certainly.
If you can convince your captors that you are rehabilitated? I mean, it begs the question, I suppose, if a person really can be rehabilitated.
It's also very hard to look for the good when you're in pain and isolated.
I think that, regardless, a lot of these are answers and questions that we have no way of answering at the moment. And that we haven't been doing a whole lot this last little while. A lot of sitting, a lot of talking, a lot of watching. I think it might be time that we do something. Whether that be try to deal with these grave robbers, or go to the Wizard of Wines, as we've had a shit ton of people ask us about that, or deal with Isaac. I think that it's time that we decide a course of action and take it.
I would have to agree.
Perhaps, if I may, and I'm only 1/4 of the vote here, but I would feel a lot better if it seemed as though our decisions were prioritized based off of at least Madame Eva's fortunes that she gave us, and then if it seems as though other things will fall in line for that, then maybe we could pursue those too. But I desperately want to leave this place. I want to help these people, yes, but I don't want to tarry here any longer than we have to. Not just this city, but this whole land.
I agree.
And if we can leave, then presumably the rest of them can too, so for the benefit of everyone.
I think my vote would, for our next action then, would, as none of these actions seem, as far as we can tell, to directly relate. I would posit let's start next with possibly the Wizard of Wines, as so many people have asked us, maybe get some allies, some help, and it gets us out of the village or the city for a little bit, so we can maybe put stuff back in perspective, see what's happening out there and such. Or if we wanted to take a shot at these werewolves again.
This Wizard of Wines, is this on the way to...
On the way to Kresk.
Kresk. So I think we want to go to Kresk.
I believe Kresk would be a good place to learn more.
So, you would have probably been pointed to a map at some point. So there is directly west of the city of Valaki. If you follow the road, you will arrive at Kresk on the western side of the Valley of Barovia. In between there, closer to Kresk, there is a road that goes directly south. That goes to the Wizards of Wine. The Wizards of Wine.
Yes, because I think Kresk would definitely be a
Wizard
good place.
of Wines, not Wizards.
Yeah, I think I think Kresk would also be a place that would be good for us to learn more about. And as it being the final of the 3 large settlements, then we have an idea of each of the 3, even if we only stop in for an afternoon or to stay there for the night before returning. That is my vote. What everyone else thinks, of course, but that is my suggestion. Go to the Wizard of Wines to Kresk before returning.
If I may as well, in speaking of powers that may aid us and looking for allies, have any of you felt or noticed anything from these keys that we have?
Mine's in my pack. I haven't really thought of it. It's a key.
Yes, but it's a key that appeared on you. Or, well, no, you found on a dead version of yourself.
Yes.
So...
Mine's a little different.
Kind of creepy. I mean, I found mine on myself after that whole thing with the wolves.
I mean, I also haven't found a lock that I've needed to get into to try said key.
Just to be thorough characteristically, Quanerith is going to shiftily do a perception check just around, because I'm assuming we're just standing somewhere in an alley outside of
the
Voctor House. Yeah,
the Voctor House.
We're standing right where Temu was killed, probably.
Are you looking for the locations of everyone's keys, or?
No, he's just kind of looking to see if anyone is around or listening to them.
Oh, like as far as like people.
Bystanders.
Yeah.
See if there's anyone spying on us.
It's basically like it's he's going hush hush.
Yeah.
Roll me a perception check.
And I don't know if I can do it additionally. No, I won't work with that.
Oh, that was Reno wrong. I was like, why is Cole rolling a D100? Hey. Oh, that's Reno. Never mind. Fuck
Oh,
you.
I don't know if you rolled a perception yet.
Oh,
We're
okay.
using.
So you were
So I thought it was Cole's roll at first. I was like, yeah,
Oh
not
wait,
20.
I do
Oh, that's
see
Reno.
you rolled a 15.
I rolled a 15. Okay, and then plus 3.
So an 18. Go. Okay. So, you do see. Well, let me double check really quick.
You see Isaac training a crossbow
Okay.
at you.
Okay. So you see someone that is outside one of these homes, and it's a man. He looks like he's whittling a knife, but as he's sitting there, you see that he has been kind of glancing over and is paying attention to your conversation.
Interesting. Okay, that wasn't. I was just doing that for narrative purposes, but that's interesting. So you see Konerith kind of like stop and like shift his eyes around for a second, and of course, the only parts of the conversation that he's hearing is your responses. So he wouldn't have heard. Well, I guess you responded and talked about the keys, but
He said it's in his pack, and where it came hasn't heard anything more though.
it either a passerby is taking a passing interest in us, or we are being followed or listened to intently. I've noticed someone off to the side. Obviously, be casual about it. There's something I'd like to talk about a bit more with these keys, but it might not be best to do in the open, so perhaps we should move on.
Onyx
Is
turns
Mirabelle
and stares at
still?
him.
Go ahead, and if anyone goes to look at the guy, give me a performance check.
I didn't say who or direct where. I just said it appears. So you'd have to like. I would assume percept to see if you could notice who it was, but reasonably, I think
He rolled a 2 for his stealth check.
Yeah.
He was not very.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd probably be with advantage too, because you've just been told that someone's looking at you or listening.
Yeah,
to you,
so I'm not even
a
going
really
to bother.
easy check.
I'm not going to bother doing the perception checks because with how low he rolled and the advantage, you guys would be able to find him. And if it was one of those situations that Konerith's like, he's right there, and it's like you can't see him. Like eventually you would be able to see him, like with enough descriptions from Konerith if you really wanted to.
How far away was the lake?
The
like
lake?
15 minutes?
No, it was like what, 2 hours or so.
Like 5
hours.
To like Lake Sarovich?
Yeah, I thought it was just a few
where the
minutes.
kids were.
Yeah, I thought it was only like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, like to the actual place that like the werewolves were. You
Yeah.
guys went around the edge of the lake, and that took about 2 hours. But the actual shoreline where you guys had met Bluto, that's only like a 10-15 minute walk.
Yeah.
That's
Graves
not far
might
at
be
all.
able to say then, I mean, we could talk more about this on the road. Graves be like, oh, if you want friends, maybe we could take a quick trip down to the lake. There's a lot less people over there if you wanted to talk about this now, or we could keep doing whatever else and talk about it later.
Now, you would know geography-wise, the Bluto, where he was on the lake, is directly north of the town. So you would have to exit a different gate, and if you wanted to head west afterwards, you'd have to either pass back through the town, or go through the wilderness.
Yeah. So
I
Graves is
think
mostly
that
suggesting that as a
yes.
that's somewhere where we can not be hurt as much and spot people because there's not as much alleyways and such. So that's a way place that we can go to converse with less people around if you want to do that, or we can keep going and talk about it on the road to the wizard if we do that.
I wish everyone could speak telepathically. This would make this so much easier.
I can whisper telepathically. I say, pointing at you and holding my hand up to my ear like a friggin' phone.
There we go.
So were you just gonna stare at him, Onyx?
Yeah. I just turn and stare at him.
The guy would notice you staring, and he would kind of glance up, and he would gather like his few things that he was working on, and he'd go inside his house.
Okay.
After you had stared at him for a bit.
The awkward of, I know you're listening, fucker.
It's entirely
Okay.
possible that he could just be listening to an honest, interesting conversation, but
Has
it's also
Mirabelle
possible.
been with us this whole time too?
Mirabelle has been on your shoulder this whole time, yes.
So there's another
So-
witness.
Oh, you mean Strahd incarnate? Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't have that prepared.
Yep.
I was like, I might actually have a spell prepared that can help us. I don't have it prepared.
Okay, so you guys had talked about leaving the town. Is there anything that you would like to do before you leave the town?
Graves says nothing.
I do know there is one thing that you guys had mentioned wanting to do, but with the hubbub of us missing a few sessions, you may have forgotten. You guys had received silver from the Baron.
Enough to
You
get.
know, enough to get, I think it was 2 weapons silvered or 1.
Graves would love to get a dagger silvered, but I assume that's going to take a little time. But he'd be willing to like drop it off and pick it back up when we return.
Yeah, so but that was one thing you guys had mentioned wanting to do before you left town, and while you guys may have forgotten, I don't think your characters would have,
Yeah.
so that's why
I'm
bringing
also
it up.
perfectly fine if we're like Graves goes over to the blacksmith, is like, "Yo, can you silver this? I'll be back in a couple days to pick it up."
Here's a silver tray and a silver plate and a fork.
And the blacksmith was never seen again.
Yeah. Graves is gonna start relying a lot more on his daggers since I'm taking rogue levels.
I mean, I can potentially do the work too myself, but it would obviously take some time. I could potentially do 1 item a day if I, do my ritual. I could basically just remake a weapon that's silvered with that. So
It just costs us the same amount of silver and then just 1 hour of your time.
exactly, yeah. I could
That
do
sounds
one-
much easier than going and paying someone else to do it, to be fair.
Yes, I'd have to agree. And the rarity of silver around here does make me particularly cautious with it.
That's the one thing I thought as well. I think I like that idea better.
As you guys approach the blacksmith, Rowley, you had met him previously. I don't know if I had mentioned, but there is a sign up on there that states weapon sales are reported to the burgomaster, and it has Isaac's name signed beneath it.
Yeah, no, let's definitely not actually go to him about it. Let's just have Herbert do our weapons.
Yeah, I can do it like as we go to bed or something like that. And
Yeah, let's just do that.
How long does it take?
takes an
An hour.
to do one.
An hour?
I could do 1 a day.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's just do that.
I mean, we could, if we were planning on leaving, going outside, it's probably best that we bring at least 1 silvered weapon. You could potentially silver one, while I know Onyx really wanted to check out the bookstore, which I think falls in line with one of our prophecies about knowledge.
Already checked it out.
Yeah, I think it was
I
Herbert.
thought you wanted to go back. Was that not one of the
I think
places you were?
I think
Herbert.
Herbert just heard
Yeah.
the word books and he was like, "Oh, bookstore."
Oh, okay.
I mean, it wouldn't be bad if we just went and got some general supplies. Like, we could look for like a couple tents, some
Poison.
like kindling.
Now you would know the Arisec
Poison.
stockyard did have a
Who's
large amount
poison?
of
Isaac's
um,
poison.
the Arisec stockyard did have a large amount of just typical adventuring gear. You do know that was quite expensive, from what
Okay.
you saw. I believe that it's 10 times what it is shows up on the adventurers guide.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
he was the one
maybe.
that had offered you the discount if you were able to get wine for his wife's birthday.
Okay, so maybe not buy stuff from him right now then, but we could spend an hour chilling and get one silvered.
Some of us could take Pitalik to the place that he's supposed to be at. Is that the only other thing that we don't have tied up immediately?
That's outside of town, right? Because that would be at
It is
Yeah.
directly outside of town on
Yeah,
the
it's like
west side
right
of town.
outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's
It'd be like a couple minutes to get there, so we could do that if we
Would
wanted.
you feel chagrined if you weren't part of that, Edward?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I do like that little creature, in a sort of weird way. I like its craftsmanship. We'll put it that way. But yeah, no, I don't mind.
We could do that.
So yeah, did we left that guy, like we spooked that guy that was following us, or
Yes, Onyx did, because he kind of just stared directly at him.
Yeah, and we've gone across town now.
So
All right.
So I will tell Bartholomew. I'll ask Bartholomew
Bartholomew.
to go find that guy and tail him for a little bit and see if he does anything suspicious, meets up with anybody, anything like that.
That is your owl, correct?
Yep, just my owl. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And he'll-
believe-
I'll tell him to report back in an hour.
I don't know if there are rules behind passive perception, but I think after noticing that, I'd like to think that my passive perception would be a little bit higher for that specific thing, because
That's right. 'cause now
narratively,
you're
Conerth
paranoid.
would be
Yeah.
keeping an eye out now to see if people seem like they're following or listening to us.
That's fair. Yeah, I'd allow a +2 to kind of deal with it like the cover system.
Yeah,
How it kind of adds or takes away, and doesn't give you like advantage because
Yeah.
you're not rolling.
exactly.
Or anything.
And I think it's fair because it'll be constantly on his mind now. Like if we're in town, especially with all the political intrigue and stuff, it's like he's now
Yeah.
suspicious and going to be keeping an eye out to see if people are looking at us or listening to us or following us.
Yeah. So, I think our two basically current questions then are: do we chill or go deliver Pidlick if we want to actually give her Pidlick? And then, whose weapon do we want silvered first?
Are we
Ooh,
actually
well.
going to give this girl her birthday present, or do we like it better than her?
I mean, we never said we would for sure deliver. We said we'd consider it and such. And they don't know what Pidlick is and such.
I'll ask Pedlick, do you want to go to the girl or stay with us?
You pull a string.
Yeah.
Oh
Toss a
gosh.
coin.
Toss a coin. Oh gosh.
Yep. Yep. That's all I could think of too.
Let's see.
Yep.
Bear with me.
Yes. Subtracted a coin. That's right.
Gold.
Dig out your responses.
I know I am. I wasn't expecting the Pidlick conversations.
Always expect the Pidlick conversations. Yeah. And then basically who most relies on their weapons. We should silver that person's weapons first.
Probably Onyx.
That's what I'm thinking too. Because he's got fighter level too. I think Onyx should be our priority for silvering.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think we only have two people who really heavily rely on their weapons, and I can magic weapon another weapon.
Yeah.
in the
Graves
combat.
did him before, but since I'm taking rogue levels, I'm going to be using my weapons a lot more. But I also get the sneak attack bonus added and such, so.
Fair enough.
Pidlick kind of when you pull his string, he kind of looks around and And he's like, a quiet life in the cacophony of life. I yearn for tranquility. Perhaps a spell of serenity and repose is what I truly need. And you guys
Are not it.
seem to
Are not
Yeah.
it.
aren't locked in by greed, but it seems as if violence is what you truly need.
So in other words, he's chill to go to this little girl.
He's like, you guys do a lot of dangerous stuff. That seems dangerous.
Yeah, I want
I'm
a
a
chill,
toy.
peaceful, quiet life. All right, we can go deliver Pidlick if we want then.
And Hidlik, do you think we should help Miss Voxer take or cause a revolution?
Let's see. Sorry, I'm pulling up a phrase.
And one last question after that.
It might be the final question for Pidlick. Now we'll have to ask him if he's gonna miss us when we
So
hand
when
over.
you say that, he says, "Embrace the moment, have a blast, and remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do."
Which leads me to my last question. Did you get rid of Pidlick 1?
Oh. Rid of? Or is he? Don't know. Long live the king.
I leave you with one last gift, the greatest gift of all, and its enigmatic allure of mystery, inviting us to explore the unknown and discover the extraordinary.
In other words, fuck you, I ain't telling.
Pidlick, that's not very nice.
And you don't smell very nice.
Hey.
But sorry, I have these insults I wrote ages ago. When you say that isn't very nice, he's just like, well, looks like I missed the memo, as did your mirror, because your face isn't very nice.
Yeah.
You know I could crush you.
So at this point, he stops talking because his string
Yeah,
has
string
kind of
run out.
fully pulled
Yeah.
up. So he does not respond to that last statement.
Good.
As much as I don't see this helping us in the grander goal, we do have this doll, so we may as well.
Yeah, and if we're going to wait an hour for Herbert, then we might as well just take it over.
Okay,
I sent
so
you a message, by the way, Rena.
Ooh.
I also sent you a message earlier about the papers that I gave for Ginger. But
Yes, I did see that one.
And they're not immediate anyway, because I don't think Lady Voxer's gonna read them and then just run down the streets like, I'm here to answer your question.
I would not like my weapon silvered, so perhaps.
That's Onyx first.
Fair enough.
I feel left out. Maybe I need to message Reno.
Yeah.
I will
Sent you a PM.
Which
Yeah, if
weapon?
Conair doesn't want his silver, then Graves would probably take a dagger as the second weapon. But I assume Onyx's hammer first. Then
Yeah.
Flint.
That's
It probably,
what I'm assuming,
like,
right?
If I was gonna say if we have extra weapons, it'd probably be best if we gave Herbert both of them, just in case it took longer than an hour to do what we're gonna do.
I think you can only do it once per day, though.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
never
I
mind.
can only do. Yeah, I can only do it once. Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe we'll grab a backup weapon for Onyx just in case, too, though. I mean, I have 4 daggers, so worst case scenario, I can toss you a dagger.
Okay.
I say I might have
So-
a mace myself, too.
I want to make sure I have the split
I do.
correct. We have Herbert staying behind. Where are you going to be when you are silvering this dagger?
I think most of our stuff is still at the church, so that's probably where I would head back to.
Okay,
Probably
so
what
you
we
head back to the
consider the
cathedral.
safest, at least.
Yeah.
Whether it is.
And that's actually right on that side of town. So you guys
Excellent.
would be able to, let me, boop, going to pull you guys over to the church to get you over towards that side of town.
Yeah.
So this is the side of town that is on here. Let me see here. And then you guys are just leaving the town to head to the Vistani camp.
Yes. Since Onyx is hammer with Herbert, I will give him my mace that I have just in case. If you want it, you can keep it. I have 4 daggers, or I'd give the mace to Onyx to have a backup weapon, unless he already has his own.
I do not have a second weapon.
All right, take a mace. You can keep that mace. I'm shit with it, and I have 4 daggers and spells. So take a mace. I have negative strength, and it's not a finesse weapon. So have a mace.
I'm going to. You guys pass through the gate. Don't run into any issues with the rest of the. With the rest of the guards. At this point, you guys are kind of more of a known entity, so they're not as suspicious of you. And the fact that you're leaving town is fine with them.
Cool.
For it. So I'm going to fetch you guys over to here, so you can see this is the
Hey, it's
location that this camp is outside of the town. So it's very easy to follow along like the trail. Like once you get pointed in the right direction, the guards kind of point you like there's a game trail. Just follow the hill up. And as you're going, you're able to see the very recognizable, colorful tents of the Vistani camps. And
Excellent. Excuse me.
Is that reasonable, Arena? What I said?
yes.
Okay.
No. How dare you?
You are not allowed to
To
take
even
our
suggest
keys.
it.
That part's more for flavor because I know that I'm not asking for anything more than what you gave me already. More so, just like that could be another avenue that it could be used.
My map was having trouble pulling up. Bear with me for a moment.
Halfway to the Vistani camp, Onyx is finally like, "Wait, are you getting powers from your key?" It finally clicks.
It's like quickly like looking around.
You do not see anyone around at this point. You guys are well beyond the point of being seen.
So yeah, if you want to leave Herbert out of the conversation, we can just have it now.
Yeah. We
Yes,
can catch
that
up later. That's fine.
that was the point that I was getting to, Onyx. It seems as though, at least for my key, there is a force inhabiting it which has infused me with more power than I had when I entered Barovia.
Well, throw it away.
Did it begin at when we were dealing with the priest's son in the basement?
No. I've been in contact with it for longer than that.
That's just the first time I noticed it, I guess.
You need to throw it away. It's turning you purple.
A color change is a small thing for the power that it could potentially grant us to help deal with Strahd. I mean, just because it seems as a dark force doesn't mean that it is a dark force.
Yes.
Someone could reason that for being a vampire.
I didn't want to bring it up just in case, but I say, especially since then, I have noticed numerous times when your shadow didn't match what you were doing, but it seemed to mimic effects that you were causing a number of times since. So I assume that is what you're referring to. I didn't want to bring it up just in case, but now that you have mentioned it, I believe I have been noticing it for some time.
And I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring it up because considering the way that this place is. I wasn't sure exactly how
Exactly.
you would react to this new entity.
Cool.
That seems to be following me. I don't, unfortunately, have a name for him yet. I just call him Shade.
Fitting.
Alex
I don't
pulls-
think that the darkness is necessarily an evil thing and such. There's good that comes of the darkness as well. Can hide things and such. I would advise caution, but I don't believe you would be one to just go into something willy-nilly anyway. I trust your judgment on this fact. I forget what your original question about it was, just that Onyx has now realized what you were insinuating.
Onyx pulls out his key, holds it, and goes, "Key, do you talk as well?"
Something
Any
I
reaction
were you-
from the key?
What was the key? You asked that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
literally pulled
Do
out
you
my
talk
key,
too?
stares
Roll
at
me-
it, and do you talk too, Key?
Roll me a persuasion check, or a religion check, whichever you prefer.
Eh?
Which is the calm birds in the background.
Yes, it's quaint now. You're in kind of the forest. It's quiet. You don't hear any noise coming from there. You got 10 for the persuasion.
Too early in the day for them to be partying too much.
Okay, check something. You hear nothing.
Oh, my keys doesn't talk to me. You got a special key, and I just throw mine back in the pack.
Was that the question if it was only your key?
No, I would be very surprised if my key was the only one that was like that. I guess, I mean, one, if it can grant you additional powers as well, then I think if we're trying to direct our attention to things that can help us deal with Strahd, it might be worth considering. But also, if I'm the only one that's interacting, then I could potentially be blind. So I was considering asking you to potentially meditate on it, and if the three of you all agreed that this seemed like a good thing, then maybe it's safe, and if the three of you all agreed that there's definitely something sinister about it, then maybe I would reconsider. But at this point, it is something I'm willing to rely on.
Something wiggles
I
behind your eye.
I think I think I trust your judgment, but I think that's a valid request too. I suppose I'll say my key. I've interacted with it a whole lot, but
What?
I feel like I've sensed
Alex is like, takes the key out again.
a connection to Pharasma through it, and I'm gonna roll deception because that is not what Graves believes, but that is what he is saying.
Your key
If you'd
talks
actually like me
too?
to roll deception against it.
Onyx
And-
is having a meltdown.
Has the hour of my enhanceability gone by already? I assume it has.
At this point, yes, because you did
Yeah.
it before the dinner party.
Yeah.
He's a machine having a meltdown.
All right, that's my best skill, and I got a 10.
Wow.
Why couldn't I have gotten that?
So if
Uh.
Coderre wants to sense motive, what Graves just said, he might realize Graves isn't being fully honest. But Graves did say, there is some sort of connection to Pharasma through it.
Hmm.
It's
up to you if you'd like to do that.
I'm
okay
gonna
with it.
say he would, not because he doesn't trust, not to see if you're deceiving him, but more so at this point he's felt alone with this, so he's curious to find out. So it's more so he's very intently listening to what you're saying.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And saying Graves
It's
is
not
also as much
specifically to
like,
see if you're lying.
yeah,
And that you probably got away with it.
yeah.
What
He just
is
like,
it?
yeah, Graves
Insight?
seems to get a stronger connection to his god through his.
What did I
Onyx
roll? 3?
does not believe you one bit.
What did I roll?
A 4.
4? I got 9, so you
I
just
had a
got away
10.
with it.
Yeah, Gray's Clevin, he has a stronger connection to his god through his. It could be that it perhaps could be, say, different entities. Do you know of any, like, gods of the Forgotten Realms of the Sword Coast that are related to shadows that it could be? Because it
Bullshit.
perhaps be created different gods, or something from your past, perhaps. Because I would say Pharasma's linked to me.
How does your key manifest?
Like powers, or like, what do you mean by
Like-
manifest?
Like, my shadow seems to be inhabited by this entity. So it actually manifests itself as a shade.
I, as of yet, have not seen anything of that kind. I heard a voice through it that I believe to be Pharasma's, once, and I also received a vision when I first obtained the key when I died in the death house, which I believe we got our keys at the same time.
Well,
Similar, at least.
Have you not spoken to your god before?
Yes, it was just a different avenue.
And a different
Then,
voice, I would assume. 'Cause
No,
your god
it-
doesn't need to speak to you through a key.
It was the same still.
see, I feel like you're
That's-
inciting right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
No,
you can-
I rolled a 22 on my insight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, you Graves is full of shit.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, like, Onyx is like, I know I'm new to this cleric shit, but that's not how it works.
It's like, well, I mean, perhaps it's an artifact of Pharasma of some kind, and it's going to be a deeper connection than before.
Then why would we all get keys from your god?
Well, maybe not all from my god. Maybe there are different gods they're connected to, and
I
it just
don't
happened to be one of Pharasma. I don't
really know much about Pharasma, but I know that the shade doesn't have any connection to Saluna.
All right, what? All right, Onyx. You know what? You got me. I apologize. It is my nature to not want to share everything. I don't believe that Pharasma is the force behind the key.
Thank you.
I do see similarities, though. When I first had a vision, when I died and came back and received the key, I found myself in a mausoleum with undead around, and it was a woman who had features similar to Pharasma, in fact, that dispelled the undead.
So why doesn't this entity want to talk to me?
Not gonna lie, I have tried to communicate with the entity a few times, and it has not always responded.
I might have had a special circumstance in that the times that I've called upon it has been when I actually need its assistance. I'll admit that I've had a difficult time feeling Saluna's presence in Barovia, and I don't know if that is me being different or if that she would have a harder time reaching into this land, just like it's closed off. But in the times that I have chosen to rely on the key, that is when the shade has manifested itself the strongest.
I've only tried to commune with the entity in the key when meditating and when praying and hearing nothing from Pharasma, who I also find I have not had much of a connection with here in Barovia. Which is not surprising, seeing that when we were in the village of Barovia, we saw all the spirits of all those past just walking through. I don't suspect that Pharasma has much power here, if any. There's even been times where I have tried to call upon Pharasma's magic that I can normally, and it completely failed. My spells did not cast.
In any case, we shouldn't keep Herbert waiting too long. We should deal with this Pitalik situation, but I just wanted to make you aware of what's happening and potentially give you the opportunity to meditate on and also connect with these spirits and help me discern whether or not, again, they are ally to be utilized or something that we should be concerned about. So,
You
I appreciate
guys, your
And of
guys'
course we
gods
can-
suck. Mine speaks to me daily here. I rolled a 2 on deception.
course.
Oh wait,
Of course,
no,
Sonic.
-1. So I rolled a 1 on deception.
Well, of course. Like, this is a place where death seems to be on. Like, of course, Pharasma wouldn't be able to talk to us here as much as Akadi. Akadi is definitely not affected by the realm of Barovia nearly as much as my god.
Or at least I talked to my
Obviously, being like, if I rolled a 1, I would still have, like, a 6 or something like that, so.
god. Yeah. I'm just like, well, at least she hasn't talked back, but I at least talked to her. I think. But
Sometimes that's all we can do. Sometimes it's enough. Sometimes it's meaningless. As Grace will just continue walking towards the camp.
is I
So,
guess I'll start meditating, Konareth, and see what the key says.
you start walking forward as you guys are traveling through. The camp is to the southwest of Valaki. The woods part to reveal an expansive clearing, a small grass-covered hill with low houses built into the sides. Fog obscures the details, but you can see that these buildings feature elegantly carved woodwork and have decorative lanterns hanging from their sculpted eaves. Atop the hill, above the fog, is a ring of barrel-topped wagons that surround a large tent with the columns of smoke pouring out from the hole in the top. The tent is brightly lit from within despite the early hour. Even at this distance, you can smell the odors of wine and the horses that emanate from the central area. As far as recognition goes, you would be able to recognize the barrel-topped wagons as the same as the Vistani that you've run into previously. The buildings on the side, though, they appear to be different construction than what you're used to within the land of Barovia. Much more organic and elegant than the crude carpentry that you've seen in the villages and city. As you are walking forward, let me pull this up.
While he's doing that, I can't wait to get back to the church and be like, Herbert, guess what?
There's great buildings.
You would notice over here, one of these hovels, it's smaller, but it looks much more established than some of the other ones. It looks like it's been there the longest.
which one's that?
The one over here.
Okay.
Let me add in a bookmark so I can make sure that I keep track of this. You would notice that standing quietly in front of that house, there, bathed in the warm light of its lanterns, are 3 sullen, gray-cloaked figures. Even at this distance, you can tell that you don't believe that they are human. They have very angular features and black flowing hair, but their cowls cover much more than that.
Hi.
What?
I just wave.
They looks like they nod to you. They are having kind of a conversation among themselves, but they don't appear unfriendly to your wave.
Grace will walk kind of a little bit closer towards them. Like, right up and like, oh,
It
friends?
is this one over here.
Which one? Oh, okay. I mean, if we're passing by on the road, Graves, as we pass by, would have kind of like, friends, do you happen to know if any of the Vestania are home and awake?
One of the they kind of look at each other. They speak in a different language. Let me double check what language that is. Does anyone know Undercommon?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm not
So-
sure why, but I do.
So, he turns to one of his companions and says in Undercommon, he says, "Looks like new adventurers coming through."
I also speak Undercommon.
Oh, so
Right, you'd
two
be
of you
right
would
on
know.
that.
That's what Dark
Um,
Elf speaks.
Yeah, Grace would be like, "You're right on that."
Do
Basically
you say
being
that
like,
in
"I know what you're
Undercommon?
saying." Yes, I say that in Undercommon back to them. Basically being like, "I know what you're saying."
They turn towards you, and now that you're seeing them fully, you can see that they are, in fact, Dusk Elves.
That was what I
They
thought.
Oh no.
they are all male. Saying it out there. They look. Let's see.
And this is where Kunareth blacks out. Wakes up in a pool of blood.
He's on his Dirge playthrough.
He goes full Thaddeus and just wow.
He's like. He turns to his companions, and he's like, "Still your tongues. We have a scholar among us. Who are you that you are fluent in the language of our people?"
Picked it up a number of years ago, just in towns. Back on the Sword Coast. Definitely not a scholar by any means, just happens to be one of the couple languages that I picked up in my time.
I am Osakla.
Uh,
What
I am Graves.
what is it that brings you to our grassy knoll?
Oh, we're just here to make a delivery.
Ah, and you were asking about the Vestani?
Yeah, see if you.
Typically, they are, and they kind of laugh among themselves. They're like, typically they are not up this early as they are still uh, working off the wine and dancing from the previous evening.
From our from our experience when we were at the Sayre pool, that does not surprise me.
Who is the delivery for?
Uh, Good question. Garion has no shit, like no clue. I do not remember any names at all.
What the guy?
Graves probably does. Garion's like, I don't know.
So-
I don't know.
I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
Onyx knows.
Onyx, who was it
all I'm
again?
hearing is squeak, squeaky, squeak, squeak,
Onyx,
squeak, squeak.
what was the name that we were here to deliver for again?
Also, fun fact about my telepathy that I didn't realize till now. My understanding's different, but anything that I speak telepathically to anyone, they can understand, even if we don't speak the same language.
Nice.
So they can understand what I'm saying, but that doesn't mean I could understand what they would say with their mouth. So that's kind of interesting, I guess.
Where like you get like a meaning for meaning translation.
Yeah, it's like pure telepathy. It's
We're
just
here
like,
to see
"Oh,
Tarek.
Tarek.
To get the doll to his niece Arabelle.
Yes.
Ah, Arabelle. Yes, her birthday is. Is that today? Yeah, Luvash's daughter. He's going to be in the main tent of at the top of the hill.
If we would have stayed one more full day and slept, then we would have missed her birthday.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we got here just in time. Thank you very much, my friend.
Of course. What are your names?
I'm Graves. This is Konareth and Onyx.
You walked up to them, didn't you?
I did not walk up to them. I'm kind of like
You're just
saying this,
yelling
kind
at
of
them
like
from where we are.
yeah, like well, probably before we're there, but like when we're on the path, kind of like right around here. So
Mm-mm.
that's
Gareth,
very
at looking over and noticing that they were dusk elves, would have just kept walking. So
that was my assumption. That
it'd just be you and Onyx standing there. Gareth would be
Yeah.
up at the top of the
and
hill.
that's Onyx up. That's Konareth up there. Konareth, main tent. Anyway, thank you, my
Fancy.
friends. Should probably go catch up with our other friend there.
Okay, so You guys, as you are approaching, you hear, sorry, I'm trying to think how to word this. As you are approaching the top of the hill, you hear a rhythmic lapping, as if someone is whipping a cattle. Soon after, you do hear the screaming of a man.
Oh.
Oh, well, what's going on here? Lovely.
As you approach the primary tent, you see piled outside the wagon are several empty casks of wine. From inside the tent comes the crack of a whip, followed by the howls of a young man. 3 sputtering campfires fill the tent with smoke. Um, and through the haze, you see 6 Vistanis passed out in various places on the dead grass. A barely conscious and shirtless teenager hugs the central tent pole, his wrists bound with rope and his back streaked with blood. An older, larger man in studded leather armor lashes a young man with a horsewhip, causing him to scream again. Standing in the bigger man's shadow is a third man, also clad in leather armor. The third man grabs the wrist of the man whipping and he says, "Easy, brother. I think Alexei has learned his lesson."
Are these
Um,
all Vistani from what we can see, though?
yes, everyone around you is Vistani. And this is the first example of any form of capital punishment or physical punishment that you've seen among the Vistani. So you've seen banishment before with Stanimir, the gentleman that you met before
Yeah.
coming to Barovia, but this is the first time that you've seen physical punishment. So
Have we heard the name Alexei, or do I just remember it from, like, other things?
you probably remember it from other things.
Okay.
You might not have heard of a. I don't know if you would have necessarily heard of a Vistani by that name.
Okay. I know I've heard the name, like, probably in tons of places. I'm like, did I
Oh.
hear it here, too, or no? Okay.
Now, you do notice that some of these tents, while it is early, you do hear some people sleeping. You see some people sleeping in the main tent area, but there are quite a few of the tents that are wide open and empty, as if the people are no longer in there.
Hmm. Well, I
Onyx
assume
shakes
they-
his head. His eyes get like a darker blue, and he puts his head or his hood back up like you normally see him.
Alright. You guys are standing outside the tent, correct?
Yeah, I assume that we would be, like, walking up to it, I assume. Graves wouldn't if the
Yes.
others aren't, but...
So as you are walking forward, you would see that this man that was whipping the teenage boy turns around and sees you, and he quickly goes from having a pale, dead look about him to seeing you and kind of breaking out into a smile and walking forward. And he's like, my friends, I'm sorry you had to witness that. What brings you to our camp today? I am Luvash.
Well, pleased to meet you, my friend. We met Tarek a few days ago, and
Yes, my brother.
yes, and he informed us that we, Garen's already blanking on the girl's name, but that girl's name must be
Arabelle.
your daughter
Arabelle.
then. Arabelle must be your daughter then. We,
As you say this, a look of severe darkness comes upon his face, and his brow tightens, and he kind of looks down. He's like, I am sorry, we do not know where she is right now.
oh, oh well, that's not great. We had been sent to bring her a birthday present. That is not good if she is missing.
Um, Let's see. As far as um as far as that goes, like when he says that's not good, if he's just saying, he's like, yes, this boy, and he kind of gestures towards the teenager, was tasked with watching my daughter Arabelle last night and failed in his duty. We currently have people searching the woods for her. She hasn't been gone long, and this has happened before, but it still causes me unease.
Understandably.
I see
But
But
the tree now.
uh, but my problem is not your problem. Um, so what is it that I can be of assistance? You were dropping something off for. I'm confused. You were dropping
Sorry.
something off for my brother and my daughter? How do you know my daughter?
We don't, but he asked us to pick up a birthday present for your daughter from him.
Oh. It's very kind. Tarek is, I believe, he is out searching right now. Um. May I ask what you had gotten her?
Oryx?
He just holds out Pidlick.
He looks at it and he's like, "Ah, Blinsky. That Arabelle is always saying it's no fun, it's no Blinsky."
Precisely. Blinsky itself
And
was very, very excited about this one specifically, and I believe he'd said that. Actually, no, never mind. Graves wasn't there. Graves wasn't there. He didn't say that.
sorry.
I hope you're
Garion
rich.
saw it. Graves was not present. So.
Onyx is just like, I hope you're rich. It eats money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no need for money. We have our happiness and our livelihood,
Yeah, you
but
can put
coin
coins.
is not too big of an issue.
No, you can put coins into
Speaking
the
of,
slot here, pull the string, and it will say things.
Tarek had been saying that he was waiting for a delivery, but he was being very unclear about what it was for, and now that makes a bit more sense. If he
Mhm.
was attempting to surprise Arabelle, I
Yes.
will be certain that once we find Arabelle, this will be going directly to her. Allow me to give you this in the meantime, as payment for the gift. Can I ask how much it cost?
Once again, Onyx.
I'm looking.
Now
I
here's the
didn't write
question:
it
if you're
down.
going to, I feel like it was like 10
It was
gold.
10, yeah. I think we
Was
just
it? Okay.
for 10 gold.
I just don't have my notes up for how much it cost. Now do you tell them 10 gold?
I wouldn't lie, yeah.
Okay.
The
So
girl's birthday present. Yeah.
he's like, well, I thank you for delivery. It is difficult for us to enter the town. Uh, with the guards and stuff, they do not like us very much. So, here you go. And he hands you a pouch of gold that has 100 gold pieces.
Yeah, I guess
Now,
it doesn't
is there
matter.
right.
anything
Gold
else?
piece of gold.
Is there anything else I may be of assistance with? That I may be able to help with. If not, I would like to go overlook the search for my daughter.
Yes. I myself don't have anything else. I definitely wish you luck in finding your daughter. If we happen to hear or see anything, we will let you know. We plan to leave for towards Kresk later today,
Yeah.
so unlikely. But if we do happen to see or hear anything, we will definitely let you know.
Now, uh, sorry, just Konereth. You would with constantly kind of checking for like smell and things like that. Um, you would have smelled a trail leaving from this tent, and it is heading to the east. And you can tell that it's heading directly east and maybe somewhat to the north.
Can I discern anything about that smell, or I'm just catching a...
You would be able to tell that it is definitely not a masculine smell, as it is not like the typical body odor. It also doesn't have the smell of wine on it, which is very uncommon among the Vistani.
Hmm.
That being said, oh, go ahead.
Just Konerith extends just to Onyx and Graves. I might regret saying this, but I might have a direction on where this girl is. Is this something we want to pursue, or just leave information with him?
We could leave information with them. Absolutely, at least that much. If we want to pursue this, up to you. But we definitely should leave the information with them.
I would like to try something.
Okay.
And I would ask, would you mind if I enter the tent?
Are you asking Luvash this?
Yes.
Luvash is like, of course, my home is open to you.
And I will walk up to the individual that is tied to the post and cast Zone of Truth.
Oh,
It's a good thing to pack when you're going to lunch
yeah.
or breakfast.
Yep.
As you are casting the spell, you can tell that Aragal and Luvash both get very tense, and their hands do briefly move towards their weapons, but they do pause after seeing that it is not a spell of attacking that you are casting.
So the guy that's tied to the post can make a charisma saving throw.
Okay. You said charisma saving throw?
Yes. Technically,
Okay.
anybody within 15 feet of me has to. But
And that's just going.
Yeah.
You can choose
He
to
got
fail.
a 12.
13, so he cannot lie.
Okay.
He can
And he choose not
avoid.
to answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he can avoid questions and kind of talk around it, but he cannot lie. On a failed save, a creature cannot speak a deliberate lie while in the radius. You know whether each creature succeeds or fails, so I know he can't lie.
So he
And-
can lie through misremembering, correct? Because he can't knowingly lie?
Yeah, he can't deliver.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's
It doesn't suddenly make him omnipotent.
right.
Understood.
Tell me, what is your name?
Just had it up. Of course, you would ask me as soon as I close it.
Alexei.
Thank you. Yes, Alexei.
Alexei. What happened? Why is Arabelle gone?
So I imagine with Zone of Truth, this is the first time I've actually DM'd a campaign that Zone of Truth has actually come up, where they failed. I'm not sure if it's written a specific way. I feel like he would give like a no nonsense, just straight to the point answer or would say nothing at all. So he's not talking with the typical cadence that you would hear from Vistani as you're going. What was the question?
What happened? Why is Arabelle gone?
Got drunk. I lost track of her.
Why would she run away?
She's a kid. Likes chasing things.
She wouldn't run away to get away from somebody?
Not to my knowledge.
Where did you last see her?
She was chasing some fireflies on the east side of the camp. Still on the hill.
I turn and look back at the Vistani behind me. And just kind of course, I can't really necessarily wink, but I kind of nod and then turn back. Have you learned your lesson?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Trying to think how he would answer that,
How
because
he would answer honestly.
that is like a huge philosophical question all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Jeez,
I've learned
like-
not to get caught.
Can you dim or turn the lights off?
I
Like
would
for your
assume
glowing eyes?
so,
Could you just
yeah.
have like one
One
go out?
Go out.
Well, like you don't even need to intimidate at this point.
No.
It's just he failed his save. Um,
Yeah, it's not a question of like I'm intimidating you to say that you have. It's
Have
a
you?
genuine.
Right.
Do
Like,
you
did you?
believe that you have?
I'm actually kind of reading through just to.
Will you do this again?
He's like, it was my fault for not watching the little brat. And when he says that, Luvash whips him again.
But Luvash is still out in the
And-
doorway, I would assume. So, like,
Oh well, if you walked into his tent, he would have followed you.
okay.
Because he'd be like, "What are you doing?" Like, in there, especially if you're casting magic
True.
within his tent.
True.
And he would have, with the person like kind of winces, but continues talking. As he, he's like, blame myself, and I accept this punishment.
So there's a chance you'll be doing this again.
Not intentionally.
I shrug my shoulders. Sorry, guys. I wouldn't trust him watching your kid. And I just walk out.
Oh,
I just
man.
saying Grace would probably have asked, while they're distracted, Grace would probably have quietly asked Conair what he had learned and was thinking of sharing or whatever.
I just perceive potentially the direction that she was, but that information was already gleaned from him. And as Konerith goes to leave the tent, he kind of pats Luvash on the shoulder and says, "It's his daughter, right?"
Yes, it's Luvash's daughter. Oh, when you say, are you reaching into his mind?
Oh, yeah. Have
Sorry,
we met
I-
Luvash before?
You have
No.
not. This is your first
I have
time
not.
meeting him.
He just hears the voice in his head, has no idea where it's coming from.
He'll be like,
Says
my friend.
maybe just instead of saying, just kind of gives like a knowing nod as he like pats him on the shoulder, and as he's patting him on the shoulder, he casts Vigilant Blessing on him, which gives him a what does that do again?
It's just
I'm
advantage
just
on
looking
your
at
next initiative. roll.
Advantage on next initiative. So it's kind of like I'm assuming in a kind of role play way that would kind of help him in his search, right?
Okay.
I don't know, dexterity
Yeah.
or something.
He would kind of like an unspoken bond kind of passes between you two. He nods back and he's like, I thank you for helping narrow down our search a little bit. Oh, Aragel, please pass that on to the search parties. And Aragel leaves very quickly without question. And he's like, you've probably saved me some time, Lee. Where are you passing through, or was it just the gift that you had to drop off for my daughter?
We were dropping off the gift. We are going back to town now to meet back up with our last companion, and we have some other business out towards the west. over towards Kresk before returning in the next couple days to Vallaki, at least. Is the plan. We'll see what
Yes.
happens.
Have you been to Kresk before?
No, we first came to the valley of Barovia, near the village of Barovia, and came from there through Sayerpool and now over to Vallaki.
One word of advice. Do not be surprised if the gates of Kresk are closed to you when you arrive. The burgomaster there, or lord as he calls himself, can be quite paranoid of those outside the walls.
Good to know.
A peace offering may be welcome.
No. Do you have any ideas what would be a good peace offering, or you know what? I'll ask someone else. You have a daughter to find. I don't want to take up more of your time.
Yes. If there's one thing I will say quickly, if you want to get to the heart of anyone in the valley of Barovia, wine is what flows throughout these.
Well, going to the Wizard of Wines on our way. So,
But please check in on it. It's difficult for us to get wine from outside Barovia when we can't pass through Vallaki. But it would be nice to be able to restore what we've had. But the flow has stopped some time ago.
yes, a
And it
few
was
people
always
have
nice
told us.
because, well, it was free wine. I mean, you can't turn down free wine.
Yes, a few people have mentioned such. So that's we're stopping there on our way.
It was free?
Yeah, Graves didn't know that part, but he's like, oh, well, that's why people like it. That also raises some red flags about where it comes from. But anyway, Graves has nothing else to say unless anyone else does.
Nope.
Thank you, my friend. And he kind of rushes away, running, and he actually leaves the guy, Alexei, tied to the pole. Do you guys do anything before leaving the camp?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
He's a scrappy young guy. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, he's not like out there bleeding to death or anything like that. He's just he got Winston's punch and he's just strapped there like he's in the stocks or in jail cell or something. He can stay there.
So, that is where we are going to end tonight's session. With you guys returning, we are going to return to next session with what happened to Herbert while you guys were visiting this camp. If you have anything you want to do in this camp beforehand, think about it between now and next session, and we can cover it from there. But it looks like the next step up on our route is traveling to the Wizard of Wines, or Kresk, depending on where the road takes you. Thank you so much for joining. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was a little bit more RP heavy than we've had the last few ones, but I always enjoy that myself. Again, thank you so much for joining. Please, for the love of crits, like, comment, and subscribe.